Hey guys, and welcome back. So this is the render and I'm pretty happy with the result. I went ahead and turned on indirect volume, or changed the volume limit to 1 instead of 0 to add multiple scattering for volumes, and this is how it looks like. We're getting a much brighter foam pass here. And to show the difference with the ocean deformation, masked versus not, or with and without, this is the original foam render that we did, and this is after the deformation, and you can see it's only being applied to where it needs to be. So it's not deforming, all these points are not changing, but everything else that needs to be affected by the ocean deformation is shifting, like this for example. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, which I should have done in the beginning, but I missed it, is to improve the water shader using the velocity and vorticity information to add more color variation. And to make the render faster, I'm going to turn off displacement for the time being. So let's go to the matte context, and this is the fluid shader. I'm going to turn off displacement. I'm going to disconnect these two, and let me delete this node, and let's do a render. So we don't have any diffuse at the moment, so let's do a quick render with Mantra 1, and let's make sure those settings are not crazy. Set this to 7 and let's hit render, and should start much faster than before because there is no more displacement. And the idea is we want to use the velocity, the speed and vorticity to create a mask, and then we're gonna plug that mask into a ramp to create color variation, and then we're gonna use that to drive the diffuse, and this is gonna help give that bubble, or to give the feeling that there is something underneath the water, and mainly the bubble that is happening where there is high velocity and high vorticity. Okay, so the problem with the APR is it takes time. It takes time for it to start refining, and I personally prefer to wait to do like a normal render instead of the APR, unless the scene is really light and we can get some feedback, but unfortunately it's not that great when it comes to complex scenes. So let's wait for this to finish, and I'm gonna add the ramp, and then we'll do another test. So we have all the information here, and all we have to do is to plug this mask here, or this selection, into a ramp, and then we're gonna plug the ramp into the diffuse color. I'm gonna enable diffuse. I'm gonna set it to 0.25, and let's go up, and we don't want this to be black. We want to add pardon me, some blue variation, so let's do that, something like that, and we're gonna do a test with this. So let's see. So it looks like I'm rendering the ocean now, and that's not what we want. So let's go to the out context and make sure we're only including the water, and let's hit render, and it's going to render it with the mask now, which is fine. So this is the original one. You can see there is no variation. What we want to do is to color everything that is fast moving really fast, to have a different color, and we're going to do that by introducing some diffuse. And we can see it already. Yep. So see here, it's adding white and then this tint of blue, and then it's back to the original color. And let's tweak this a bit more. So let's add another color here with a different tone, maybe like this. I'm gonna make this brighter and more saturated, and let's increase the diffuse amount to so we can see it clearly, and let's do another render. And then I'm gonna turn on the displacement, the ocean displacement again, and see how everything looks with that. Okay, so the colors are pretty saturated now, but I think it's gonna work like this. I'm just gonna lower the amount of diffuse we have in the shader. So here I'm gonna set this to 0.25, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna plug in the displacement and the properties, and then I'm gonna increase the settings just a tiny bit. 4 and 4, and this is 8. And I'm gonna do a test render, and then we'll continue in the next video.